Listen, it's time that we take a stand to defend your position from all those smart rip-off scams who just come to take a bite and make their own decision and boast to the world that they are the reigning champs. While your friends them happy had times they were going through, they still wouldn't help you out if you beg them please. But woe unto them, little do they know that a good name is better than great riches. Oh, Grenada, Grenada, here I come. Sweet, sweet Grenada. I will never, ever, ever let you down. Oh no, I'll always be your support right here by your side. With my arms around you to wipe your weeping eye.
And a good night to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name is Sheldon Scott. I'll be with you until the 10 o'clock hour. It's now 11 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. Yes, we are a bit late tonight.
Oh, Grenada.
Saying a special good night to each and every one of you joining us via the various mediums. Those of you joining us via 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, we say a very special good night to each and every one of you. Those of you joining us via 91.9, 91.5 Real FM broadcasting out of St. Patrick, we say special good night to you. We'll be joined a little later on by 92.9 Sister Isle FM. And those of you on YouTube, those of you on Facebook, we say a very special good night to each and every one of you. Those of you not yet subscribed to the YouTube page, ensure that you get subscribed.
Grenada.
Those of you on the Facebook page, remember to follow and like and share.
I'll always be right by you.
Let me say a special good night to you, Zayla. It's a school night. Zoe. Zelia, good night to you. Neela, Namara, Deshawn.
Grenada.
Yeah, you know when Uncle Sheldon said it early, so time to go to bed, eh? Nice, yeah. School in the morning, nice? We're just letting the rest of the world know, yeah? That when it comes to this rock we call Grenada, there's definitely no place better. Even at our worst, we're still better than the rest, eh? Yeah, tonight we had to find out who is the biggest loser, yeah? So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We're on Talking Points. And of course, it's your program. You will have the opportunity to call. Not yet, but you will have the opportunity to call.
Jennifer spent 15 years in Washington. Last day she came to jam for the carnival. Who sent she? I don't know, but she very lucky to bounce up along sweet man like me. She says so nice, everything alright. Believe me, I'm feeling fine. I want to wine. I say, honey, you better listen to me. Once you cook keep up the pace, you're in the right place. When the DJ play Peter Humphrey, she raise her hand and she tell me, Specky, no place sweeter than home. I say she gone crazy when they bring in flying turkey. No place sweeter than home. Just give me permission. I want me permission.
Yeah, it's been an interesting weekend. I've done quite a bit of reading over the weekend.
Girl, you never know what they're thinking.
And folks, just letting you all know, Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell will be doing his first interview for 2024 tomorrow night on Talking Points. It starts at 8 p.m., yeah? So looking forward to having you all on with us. We're speaking about many, many different issues. So that's tomorrow night. We'll be joined by various stations as well. But you know, we have our traditional that we're on. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook and so on. So you can join us there as well.
What people make me wet me pants back on a lonely land.
Just making sure the numbers get up there before we get to the discussion, you know. Yeah, you don't want to start the thing and then afterwards you have to, yeah, you understand. Yeah.
I say PYT, just take it easy. When you jump up in Queen's Park, you bound to come back. Jenny and the Esplanade, the jamming that be real hard. Check me out on the road show, we drinking Carriacou. When the DJ play on my squeezy, she rests her right leg on me, singing no place sweeter than home. They mix it up with Skylar. She bend down low and she back.
But before we get to date, let me give you all a chance to call in here. 440-7377, 347-329-3101.
No place sweeter than home.
Yeah, gonna give you all a little bit of time to call in now. Yeah.
Watching, girl, you never know what they're thinking. No.
Before I dive into it, you understand? Yeah, giving you all a little chance to call in to start. You nice? Yeah. Doing it a little different, yeah. It is a Monday night. Usually we take the calls anyway.
Wine, mama. Oh, you see what?
So a reminder, Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell will be on with us tomorrow night. Right here on Talking Points. And folks, let me know if you're hearing, I know sometimes some people are hearing it low and you're just not saying. Let me know if everything is on okay.
Carriacou, the place so beautiful and nice. It's a paradise. I can't believe me own eyes. Anywhere I roam, I will never forget my home. It's people like you, just make me happy for you. I say good looking, let me tell you something. No problem paying your fare to come every year. Jennifer, smile for me, honey, for your eyes only, because you love me and care, that's all I want to hear. When the DJ played the rock match king, Cloud had you screaming and jumping, singing no place sweeter than home. Music play from Tommy C, Eggy Japs and Super Terry, no place sweeter than home. Just give me a jammo, Moss and Tia also, whoa, whoa, no place sweeter than home. Randy and them watching, girl, you never know what they're thinking. No place sweeter than home. But she whining home, leave me alone, my only home. Cracker, I wonder if she want to visit Batway Beach.
So some folks have been asking in relation to some questions in relation to the recent cabinet shuffle. And there seem to be more questions than answers. Because now, right, let me see, right, nice, yes, so the volume is okay. Yeah, some people have been asking various questions in relation to the cabinet shuffle and what has taken place there. There are certain things they want clarified, like some persons are asking, what is the real portfolio of Mrs. Delma Thomas? What's her real portfolio? Now, as I see it from what the government has put out, she is the minister with responsibility for the Mount Gay mental facility. And again, I am not going to be making jokes about anybody and their mental state and that sort of thing. I ain't into that. So I'm not going to be making any jokes about that. But that is the portfolio that she has. She's not the Minister of Health and all that sort of thing. No. Yeah? She's not the Minister of XYZ and Ministry of Health and Wellness and all of that. No. She is the Minister with responsibility for the Mount Gay mental facility. What strikes me as strange in relation to that is I have never in any cabinet heard of a minister that has specific responsibility for just one government facility. You may have responsibility for various facilities under a ministry. For instance, if you're in the Ministry of Sports, you may have responsibility for all the playgrounds around and so on. So What they've done now is they're basically saying that, okay, we can create a ministry and say the Ministry of the National Stadium. Or we have a ministry where you have special responsibility for Montrouge playing field. Because they've now broken it down that you can have a minister with specific responsibility for a specific entity. Not only is that strange, it's unnecessary. If you've got a minister and you probably have a junior minister within the ministry, that's one thing. But to basically create a ministry where a person has responsibility for one facility, and they can try to word it as nicely as they can. That's the reality of the situation. Yeah? I can use myself as an example. I was once attached to the Prime Minister's ministry, and the Prime Minister's ministry, there's national security, there's home affairs, there's several departments, national disaster management and all of that. That's attached to the Prime Minister's ministry. But my specific responsibility was information. So I was there with specific responsibility for information. I had nothing to do with national security. I had nothing to do with home affairs. I had nothing to do with disaster management and all of that. My specific responsibility was for information. So I didn't have anything to do with the Commissioner of Police and all of them in national security and all the other departments. The same goes, for instance, former Senator Winston Garvey. He had specific responsibility for NADMA, the National Disaster Management Authority, and so on. So he was specifically dealing with that agency and the various aspects of what that agency entails. Yeah? So in this instance, she has specific responsibility for a facility, not an agency, not a unit, not a department, a specific facility within the government service. So I hope that clears it up for a lot of you that may have had misconceptions about what that appointment is. They can say what they want about it, but that is what the appointment is. It is specific to a specific facility. Yeah? Which, and I checked again. You're checking throughout the Caribbean region. You're checking further afield, and I cannot find, and I challenge them to find instances of any country that has appointed a minister only with responsibility towards a specific facility. What it says to me is that you've basically created a job for someone that you want to keep around or that you want to bring in. So you didn't trust to place them anywhere else. After your people have said the worst about them, yeah? And they sit down there and they're grinning, and they've said the worst about them when it comes to the Ministry of Housing. They've said the worst things about the Housing Authority of Grenada and the management of the Housing Authority of Grenada. Who was the minister in charge of that? The same person who is now in charge of the Mount Gay facility. They said the worst things about the handing out of the houses in Carriacou. Who was the minister in charge of that? The same person who is now in charge of the Mount Gay facility. They've said the worst things about the houses, the Chinese-built houses, and government's role in these houses being built, and that they didn't have this and they didn't have that, and it was incompetence and incomplete and all of that. Who was the minister in charge? The same person that's now in charge of the Mount Gay facility. They said the worst things about the seed program. They said there are several people on the seed program who should not be there. They said there are many people who do not qualify, but they're putting them on the seed program. They said the seed program was being used as a mechanism to go and give money to party supporters. They said that all sorts of corruption was taking place under the seed program. And so, who was the minister in charge? The same person that they now have in charge of the Mount Gay facility. They've said all sorts of things about the social welfare programs in general. And who was the person in charge? The same person who is now in charge of the Mount Gay facility. Yeah? So that person, obviously they weren't going to put them back in that department, and they couldn't find another department to put them in because they'd have to shift somebody out. And from what you've been hearing on the streets and what you've been hearing otherwise, you realize that many individuals who identify as supporters of the National Democratic Congress are very uneasy and unhappy with the developments that have taken place. Yeah, they're very unhappy and uneasy with the developments that have taken place. And then, after all of that, the same individual, when someone is asking about the situation with the present member of parliament for St. Andrew Northeast, makes the following statement online. They make the following statement online. And I don't understand if that individual does not understand that what they have done there is create a case that now has to go to the Integrity Commission. Because they are stating that the possibility there is that the present MP, Member of Parliament for St. George Northeast, I think I said St. Andrew earlier, but St. George Northeast, what they are saying is that individual more than likely is being paid by another source that allows them to go to school and not have to worry about anything. That's the post that was made over the weekend. Yeah? In response to a post that says, well, I wonder if I could go and study and get $14,000 a month and that sort of thing. And that was the response by the new minister, which opens the door to the discussion of the Integrity in Public Life Act and the various aspects of the Integrity in Public Life Act, and if they are being followed, and if the various tenets of the Integrity in Public Life Act are being properly carried out by the present administration. Yeah, and let me just give you an example, and I'm trying to get it up here. I want to give you an example of what I'm talking about, because the Integrity in Public Life Act is very clear on certain things. It's very, very clear on certain things, yeah? Let me give you an example of what I am talking about here. I'm just trying to pull it up for you. This is the Integrity in Public Life Act of 2013. There are various aspects of it, as you can see here. Various aspects to the Integrity in Public Life Act, right? And let me see if I can just increase that to you. It speaks of the establishment of the Integrity Commission, right? It also speaks to financial disclosure, where every member of parliament and various other categories of people, they have to make various declarations to the Integrity in Public Life Committee. In other words, you're supposed to disclose your financial status. If you owe, where you owe, why you owe, and how much you owe, right? If you own, what you own, where it is, and how much, and not only in Grenada, but inside of Grenada and outside of Grenada. So you have to declare all your bank accounts. If you're married, you also have to declare the bank accounts of your significant other. Yeah, your husband or your wife, you have to declare their bank accounts. If you have children, all your children under the age of 18, you have to declare their bank accounts and all that they own as well. Right? So the Integrity in Public Life Act is very, very clear on these things. There's a code of conduct in relation to the commission and in relation to the persons who are under the Integrity in Public Life Act, right? You have to report gifts and that sort of thing. If somebody gives you a gift, there are certain conditions under that and various things like that. So you have the Integrity in Public Life Act. But there are also, to the Integrity in Public Life Act, there is a section, there is a schedule, or there is a list of things that you ought to do or ought not to do. And that is, let me see, I can pull it up, the 6th schedule of the Integrity in Public Life Act. And I'm talking about this in the context of what was said over the past few days, what was said there by the present minister with responsibility for the Mount Gay facility, what was said by that individual. Because you have the 6th schedule, oh, I didn't realize I didn't pull it up. Yeah, the 6th schedule, which speaks to the code of conduct. In other words, these are the laws, the rules of people who are in public life, what you can do and what you can't do, right? So first it says, and I'm reading it out, especially for those of you that are on radio. Yes, I know you all can read, right? A person in public life has a duty to take all necessary action to comply with the provisions of this code. A person in public life should carry out his or her duties in accordance with law and these lawful instructions and ethical standards that relate to his or her functions. Right? A person in public life should act in a politically neutral manner and should not attempt to frustrate the lawful policies, decisions, or citations of a public authority. A person in public life has the duty to serve loyally the lawfully constituted national, local, or regional authority. A person in public life shall be honest, impartial, and efficient, and shall perform his or her duties to the best of his or her ability with skill, fairness, and understanding, having regard only for the public interest and the relevant circumstances of the case. In the performance of his or her duties, a person in public life shall not act arbitrarily to the detriment of any person, group, or body, and shall have regard for the rights, duties, and proper interests of all others. And let me stick a pin here on the sixth one. When we speak of the situation in relation to, in relation to the property in Mount Gay and the way that the LA Purcell Estate managers are being treated by the MP for St. George Northeast, it contravenes Section 6 of the Integrity in Public Life Act when it says, in the performance of his or her duties, a person in public life shall not act arbitrarily. Because clearly, arbitrary action has been taken in this case. You're building a bus shed. There is no authority from the planning authority. You just go, you take people's property and you're building on it. They tell you about it. You just break down fence. You're going back, you're building. Court cases going on. And that is to the detriment of the owners of that estate. So Section 6 is being contravened. In other words, they're breaking the law, the Integrity in Public Life law, when it comes to number 6 and what is being taken, what is taking place in the Mount Gay area with that bus shed. 7, a person in public life shall not allow his or her private interests to conflict with his or her public position. It shall be the responsibility of the person in public life to avoid such conflicts, whether real, potential, or apparent. Let me read that one again for you all. It says, a person in public life shall not allow his or her private interests to conflict with his or her public position. It shall be the responsibility of the person in public life to avoid such conflicts of interest, whether real, potential, or apparent. If a sitting member of parliament on the government side, which can provide various benefits, incentives, etc., to any individual or company or organization, if that MP is being funded, is receiving a salary, is receiving $14,000 or $10,000 or even $500 or $5 from an entity, and that entity or person or organization may want afterwards to have some benefit because of that payment, because it says here whether it's real. So in other words, whether the person says, hey, I'm going to give Ron $14,000 a month, and after I give him $14,000 a month, I want you to give me a contract that's going to provide for me $200,000 a month. So that would be real if that was the case. Whether potential, whether even though the person is giving $14,000 now and they have not said that it opens the door to that person being able to say in the near or distant future that, hey, I am funding him, so you have to take care of me. Look, I have a plan here. I need it passed through the authority quickly. Look, I need that property. That property is available, and therefore I want to obtain that property. And all you have to pass that for me. I need that property. You all have to do it, whether you all reclaim the property in government's name or whatever. That is potential. It's not the real that they have said it, but it's the potential that they can do it. Or apparent, whether in the eyes of the Grenadian people, even if it's 1 or 2 Grenadians, but even if it is in the eyes of Grenadians, that the potential is there, for a corrupt practice to take place. And I'm saying again, if an individual or if a company is providing a salary of $14,000 or a stipend of $14,000, etc., to a sitting MP on the government side, because on the government side is they that have the power, they that control the ministries, they that control the contracts. So it's nothing that stops them from saying to somebody, hey, we're giving you a contract, you're going to get $200,000 a month. But out of that time, you have to pay this person $14,000. It doesn't have to be the case. But the Integrity in Public Life Act is very clear. Under the 6th schedule, under Section 7, where it says a person in public life shall not allow his or her private interest. You going to study, whether you're going to study or not, is a private matter. That is not a national matter. That is not in the national interest. That is in your private interest. So if you are receiving funding to go and study, that is in your private interest. It comes into conflict with your public position. And your public position, in the case of Mr. Ron Redhead, is that he is a sitting MP with influence. At least I believe he should have influence, even if it's just the Youth for Change people within the NDC, influence on people within your political organization who are in power and have the influence. So directly, if what the minister with responsibility for Mount Gay is saying is correct, if that is a fact, or even if that apparently is a fact, they are in breach of Section 7 of the Integrity in Public Life Act. But number 8 also says, after 7, we have 8. 8 says a person in public life shall not take advantage of his or her position for his or her private interests. So it can't be a situation that because you're an MP, you've decided that, hey, I'm an MP, I'm going to use the opportunity there and I'm going to get some money to go and study and forget about everything else. I'm going to go and study, man. Yeah, it cannot be a situation like that. It has to be a situation that does not come into conflict with your public position. Yeah? Section 9 says, I'm going over it because I want people to understand where we're coming from. It's not that anybody trying to badmine anybody and anybody vex with anybody and that sort of thing. It's not a matter of that. There are laws in place. There are laws in place. Yeah? There are laws in place. So Section 9 says a person in public life shall always conduct himself or herself in such a way that the public's confidence and trust in the integrity, impartiality, and effectiveness of the public service are preserved and enhanced. Yeah? It also says in 10, having due regard for the right of access to official information, a person in public life shall have a duty to treat appropriately with all necessary confidentiality all information and documents acquired by him or her in the course of or as a result of his or her employment. It says here in 10, a person in public life who believes that he or she is being required to act in a way which is unlawful, improper, unethical, which involves maladministration or which is otherwise inconsistent with this code should report the matter in accordance with the law. And I'm going to ask of the Integrity in Public Life Commission if Mr. Redhead has reported to them that an offer has been made in order to pay him to stay out of Parliament. Not Parliament, but stay out of Cabinet. Because he's in Parliament, but to stay out of Cabinet. conflict of interest, part 2 of the 6th schedule of the Integrity in Public Life Act. And I'm sorry to be going through like a school teacher tonight, but we have to make sure that people understand what the law says. Conflict of interest, there's a section, part 2, deals specifically with a conflict of interest, because if a person is a sitting MP and it has somebody that running the money for them, that person looking for the payment on the other side. So a conflict of interest arises from a situation in which a person in public life has a private interest, go in and study, which can influence or appear to influence the impartial and objective performance of his or her official duties as the MP for that particular area. A person in public life private interest includes any advantage to him or herself, to his or her family, close relatives, friends, and persons or organizations with whom he or she has had business for potential relations. It also includes any liability, whether financial or work relating thereto. And we could speak about that in relation to the GDB and certain individuals in the government as well. Section 3 says, since the person in public life is usually the only person who knows whether he or she is in that situation, he or she has a personal responsibility to 1. Be alert of any actual or potential conflict of interest. B. Take steps to avoid such conflicts. C. Disclose to his or her supervisors any such conflict as soon as he or she becomes aware. And D. Comply with any final decision to withdraw from the situation or divest himself or herself of the advantage causing the conflict. Yeah? So we're not just speaking here out of the broadness of our mouth. There are laws that cover these things. There are laws that cover these things. And if what we are hearing, if there is any measure of truth to what we are hearing, that the MP has been told stand down at a point in time when you just double the salary of everybody else, that you're telling the MP to stand down, and that part of the agreement for the MP to stand down, even if it is the Prime Minister himself that using his own personal funds to make the MP stay out of the cabinet, it is a conflict of interest according to the Integrity in Public Life Act. If it is a friend of the National Democratic Congress, a financier, where there is the real potential or apparent appearance that that individual or organization can, is, or might receive some sort of benefit from the government of Grenada, it is a conflict of interest. The law is clear. It's not opaque. You ain't have to wipe the window to see it. You ain't have to move no curtain. It's clear in relation to this particular issue. So some people have seen that post over the weekend and they've just bypassed it and said, oh yeah, she's talking thing. No, this is a serious matter, because what you're saying here is that there is the possibility that the MP is now in breach of the Integrity in Public Life Act. I don't know, like they're looking to get rid of the MP. Because if he's found in breach of the Integrity in Public Life Act, it's better he resign the seat. Yeah? So I don't know, because I don't know, probably we wasn't supposed to know. Probably we weren't supposed to know that. But from what we are hearing there now, it seems as though that MP might have to answer to the Integrity in Public Life Commission in relation to if they are receiving any financial inducement. I think that's how they say it. Any financial inducement. In other words, if they're getting our money to hold off now, to just relax themselves and cool it. Yeah? We have to find out if there is any truth to that. If that is potentially so, if that is really so, because right now it's apparently so. So we have to find out if it is really so, and we have to find out who the people that are funding the MP are, and we have to find out the reasons. It can't just be that you like the MP, no, because that still leaves the potential and the appearance that some corrupt act in repayment may be taking place. Well, you can't take me to court for that. It's the truth. Because if I only find out who it is, I call your name here. Don't worry, brown envelopes just drop all the time. Yeah? Because you have to ask yourself, what the Prime Minister has said in relation to the MP needing to demit office because he is going to study, it just doesn't fly. And why I say it doesn't fly? Because there are other MPs within the government right now that are also studying. There are other MPs there that are also studying at this point in time. Yeah? Like this one. The same one who just failed. Massive fail. In fact, this individual ought not to have been given another ministry to destroy. But you see here, and this is his LinkedIn, from his LinkedIn profile, Senator Jonathan Lacrette. He is a doctoral student. In other words, he is presently pursuing his doctorate to become Dr. Jonathan Lacrette. And I appreciate that, and I congratulate him on trying to improve himself. And I would encourage anybody that's trying to improve themselves to improve themselves. But I'm saying it does not fly that Lacrette is not doing his bachelor's, he's not doing his master's, he's doing his doctorate, which involves quite a lot of work. It means you've got to prepare your thesis. Yeah, you've got to prepare your thesis, your doctoral thesis. And that involves a lot of work. It means you have to go, you have to get interviews done, you have to put together and collate your information, and so you have to put forward your argument, and you have to be able to defend that argument. So you've got to get as much information as possible around your argument to be able to defend it. It's a lot of work. You also have to look at the body of work that others have done in relation to the specific area that you're doing your thesis on in order to achieve your doctorate. There's a lot of work that has to be done there. Yet still, he's the Minister of Sports right now, Youth and Sports. But you have one who is going after his first degree, his bachelor's degree. Because contrary to what people have been hearing, you keep hearing that he can't be going for his master's, he's going for his bachelor's degree. He has not completed his bachelor's and he's going for his bachelor's degree. Whether locally, regionally, or internationally, I don't know. That information has not been given to us, the Grenadian people. But we have another person sitting in the same cabinet who is doing a doctoral. He's a doctoral student. Unless he lying, I ain't think Laco lying. I do not think that Laco is lying on his page. Yeah? I do not think that he is lying on his LinkedIn page. But he is a doctoral student at this point in time. In other words, Laco studying too. So how come after Laco mash up the Ministry of Health so bad, he had to bring in, well, you say two ministers, but it's really a minister and you have to bring it into the Ministry of Health to try and save face that you're bringing two people inside there, one with specific responsibility in relation to a facility and the other one with overall responsibility. In another year that you have stated is the year in relation to healthcare and all that sort of thing, and developments in healthcare, after you failed massively in the year 2022 and 2023, that you've come with this other platform that you're pushing in 2024, you have another person within your cabinet right now that also studying. How come they could study and they have a ministry as the in other words, you mean the Ministry of Youth is not ministry? So we could put them in the Ministry of Youth because the Ministry of Youth is not ministry. Just put them there. You could just put anybody there. Yeah? Is that what they're telling us? You have other people, if you're talking about studying, you have other people who, in not just my view, but the view of many Grenadians, need to go and upgrade themselves academically more. Not that the one that you're saying, and I'm just saying is going to upgrade themselves academically does not need it. I'm saying that there are others within your cabinet that need it more than that individual. Because basically it's half a subject they have. Even if you had to send them back to be TAMCC or something, or they have to do whatever classes and so. Yet still they were not touched, which tells me that the reasoning behind the shuffling out and the firing, oh, you could use nice words as revoked and demit and all this kind of nonsense. No, he get fired. Which is why, in my view, he ends up the biggest loser after the cabinet shuffle. He ends up the biggest loser because he was fired. He was fired. And in my humble opinion, it is because it is a lesson, an object lesson to others within the National Democratic Congress to behave themselves. Yeah? They want the other people within the National Democratic Congress who are part of the Youth for Change movement to behave themselves. And don't think the Youth for Change taking this thing lightly, eh? Don't think because you see Ian Django Thomas, Tevin Andrews, and Ron Redhead liming in Carriacou over the weekend. All they feel is just lime the liming or plot the plotting. Because those three are part of Youth for Change. So right after one member Youth for Change get fired, which was basically a message to Tevin to check yourself, boy, what happened? All the people, you could do all you want. As Prime Minister, when I say do it, do it. Or you face the same consequences, especially now that we have an additional person that we were able to bring over. Right now, I don't necessarily need you, you know. You could go. So anybody else right now, you're facing it. But specifically to the Youth for Change cabal, the Tevin and the Kereen and the Ian Django is not in the cabinet but on the outside. Yeah? That cabal, that Youth for Change cabal within the party, that they have to be careful. Because this was not a warning shot, you know. They actually execute the person, they ain't fire over their head, they execute one. For the rest of them to check themselves. So don't think that they went up Carriacou and they liming. Don't think they went up Carriacou and they just up Carriacou for fun and they having fun and they just, oh, it's just a nice visit and we come out and we hanging out together. No. It is a object lesson to the rest of them. Behave all yourself, so they plotting. They can try to make it seem however they want it to seem. But outside of the apparent conflict of interest that we are hearing about now, and that I believe the Integrity Commission needs to investigate. And Integrity Commission, I saw your budget for 2024 and so on. So yeah, only put forward all your budget and thing. Look nice and things, so you know. Right? And the work plan for 2024 and all of that. So we definitely have some things coming up that we need to pay close attention to. Yeah, when it comes to these issues. Folks, before I go on to the next issue, we're going to open the phone lines though. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside. I'm going to take a few of your calls before we move on to another issue. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. You can call right now. And don't get it twisted, you know, there were other losers during that cabinet reshuffle. Because you have an individual who was boasting for many years, even as leader of the NDC, they were boasting as though They were God's gift to agriculture here in Grenada. They were given X amount of money to spend for agriculture for the year 2023. They did not utilize it. Agricultural production, instead of going up, went down. They started to blame, the temperature and so on. But you had millions of dollars. Did you spend any money on irrigation? Did you speak to farmers and ask farmers, well, okay, you all see the hot weather we're having and so on. It means we need to create water reserves, ways of getting water to you all so that you all will be able to take care of your animals if you're into animals, that you'd be able to wet your fields and so on. Did they work towards getting fertilizer? When is the last time you hear the government get how much fertilizer under the new National Party? You say hear about fertilizer coming from Morocco and they're giving out fertilizer to reduce cost and that kind of thing. When was the last time all you hear about fertilizer giving out and all this sort of thing? But all is the best thing for agriculture. Nobody else did care about agriculture. Yeah? Just admit it. You all have not focused on agriculture. You all mouth off about agriculture, but you're focused on the same thing that you all had been saying before, that people should not be in, that NNP is not interested on. NNP is too interested in, which is the CBI. And now they are totally focused on the CBI. They're not interested in agriculture, so you see agricultural production dropping. So they take out that failure from there and they put that failure into where now? I think it's tourism. They take out the failure from one place and they put the failure to fail somewhere else. I mean, absolute madness. Yeah? I think I had to play that tune for them, but I will play it in a while. Yeah, absolute madness though. 4407377. Let me hear from you.
No problem.
347-329-3101.
Jennifer's fine for me.
So definitely if the allegations being made there are true, it is a breach of the Integrity in Public Life Act.
She's screaming and jumping, singing no place sweeter than home.
And in specific the 6th schedule, and several aspects of the 6th schedule.
No place sweeter than home.
And note, any one of us can write to the Integrity Integrity Commission. Yes, we can write to the Integrity Commission referencing the 6th schedule of the Integrity in Public Life Act and referencing the statements made and ask the Integrity Commission to do an investigation. Huh? You could do it, I could do it, any one of us.
Cracker! I one night she want to visit Batwood Beach.
Yes, any one of us commoners can make that, yeah. Any one of us who is commoners, we could go ahead and we could, yeah.
When she came from Manchester Road, she want to take off her clothes.
But then you have to ask yourself the question as well. And let me get into that one time. You have to ask yourself the question, why they afraid to touch Laco? Why are they afraid to remove Laco? How come Laco getting away? Yeah? But ask yourself, who is his uncle? Ask yourself that question first. Who is his uncle? Now, before I reach there, let me go into this. Now, Mr. Brian Grimes, the president of the Public Workers Union, I'll come back to it. Give the caller preference and I'll come back to it. Hello, good night.
Good night, Senator Scott. Good night, good night.
How you doing, bro?
I was just listening to you there and taking my time to analyze what you're saying there. Mm-hmm. And the last one you just talked about Laco there. You're hitting it right on the nail. You understand? Because look at for all what Laco do. You understand? Nothing good. Not one thing could point and say he did good. And so far, we get rid of, you know what I mean, Mr. Redhead. You know? And remember, I hope you listen to tape what the Prime Minister said in the interview, you know. If, when he don't study, if they feel to take him back, I hope you gather that's what that man was talking about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that telling us this thing is bigger than what we think. You understand me? They just show Ron under the bus. And why you think Ron and his good friend run up to Carriacou? Don't you notice with all this change, the man from Carriacou stay away? Because you see the thunder is rolling around his head.
No, but what I'm telling you is this, that in Carriacou, it was the MP for Carriacou. It was Mr. Ian Django Thomas. We've spoken about him and the security contracts and all these other things before.
Yeah.
And outside of him, it was Mr. Ron Redhead. They were all hanging out in Carriacou. And I'm saying it is very, very informative that these three who comprise the base, some of the key people within the Youth for Change movement, right after a key member of the Youth for Change has been kicked out, fired from the cabinet, are meeting in Carriacou. And they make sure that they take a picture to show that they're meeting, because they're sending a message. They're sending a message.
But Sheldon, just after the election result, there was grumbling about the Youth for Change, you know. They had a little problem was stirring up. Just after the election, when they win the election. You understand? Because remember, that there is not really NDC, you know. It's an alliance. At the last minute, come together. You understand? So we have to be very careful with that. You know, sometimes when Jenny speaks, we have to listen what she's saying. Because she's so right. Posweda, 2 weeks before they go to Posweda, Posweda wanted no part of Dick Mitchell for what Dick Mitchell did to him. I don't know if William people know that.
Mm-hmm.
But Posweda get caught up like a little dog sucking a bone. You understand? Because he have no right to be in that party. Just as Nazim Buck, they have no right to be among them men, because them men say it's something new they have going on. And the way he treated Posweda said he ain't getting involved with that man at all. You understand what I mean? For what a man do to him. And when the question was asked to him, why do you went back there? He said, so what you want me to do? And that individual don't even say another word to Posweda. And mark my word, what I tell you today is cotton well pressed. So now, when they move him now from there and put him there, they're going to spin him around like a top. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the way Dick Mitchell run things. Because he never run nothing more than his farm. He don't know nothing about the politics in Grenada. He just enjoy his life. He never come one day in the park and watch a football match. He never come one day and watch a cricket match. He is on a different planet. But they allow him to get inside the party and dictate, and everybody had him out shut. Journalists had him out shut. Because all of them come down on the NNP. All of them come down on Dr. Mitchell. You understand me? So now they're shame. Even what the journalists and them do, I don't know if it was the right thing, Sheldon, because they're shame. Because those assemble, resemble. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how they will get out of that little tata they put themselves in. But let me see. Any of you boys, you have a good one.
Okay, thank you so very much. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to call and get onto the inside. You can also call us on WhatsApp on 440-7377. Yeah, I was telling you all that Mr. Brian Grimes, and we're going to go back to tie this in. Mr. Brian Grimes made a statement recently where he said that it is the intention of government to privatize the health sector in Grenada. And I think a lot of Grenadians still just let that statement pass by. He was on GBN to the point, and he made the statement that the present administration, they are seeking to privatize the health sector here in Grenada. And you hear other statements being made along that line. Now, remember who is one of the people meeting with the venture capitalists, the venture, what do you call them? Oh boy, there's a name they have for them. These people who basically would put their money into these sort of things. They're basically risk takers, but they have lots of money they put into different things. Whether it work, if it work, it's good for them. If it don't work, oh well, you lose. Right? But the person who is dealing with them, ask about the blood relation between that person and the former Minister of Health, now Minister of Youth and Sport. Also, ask yourself, if the present NDC, who are one of their financiers, and we have to ask the question, if that person who, at the same time that you had Miss Andrea St. Bernard and so on, were being made diplomats and so on different areas, that person was made a diplomat as well. So ask yourself, if it is not that Laco is so good that they had to take him out of the Ministry of Health and put him into another ministry to do the excellent work that he's done in the Ministry of Health, to go and do that in the Ministry of Youth and Sport. But if it's a case that the NDC afraid to touch him, they're afraid to touch Ron, because Ron, poor people, children, working class, family thing. You nobody with a couple $1 million to throw at the NDC. You nobody that could come and bring in no big set of thing. Yeah, that kind of connection and so. But it have other people who are within the organization that have relatives who are able to do that. So they could cut Ron throat, yeah, to throw him out. But when it comes to the other people, they ain't touching them. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself why that particular individual. Yes, over the 19 months or so, I've had my problems with the individual. There's several instances, several things that the individual has done and so on. But there are people within there, from what I'm hearing, do just as bad and worse. And when it comes to constituency-wise, there are people who are doing worse than what he has done. And when it's talk about ministry-wise, there are many others who have done just as bad as him. And if you're saying it's the study, well, here it is. You have Lacret, who is doing his doctoral studies right now. He's a doctoral candidate, so he's doing his doctorate right now. And nothing is wrong with that, because as I said, there are others who were within the new National Party administration that were able to handle their studies and successfully run ministries. You've had Honorable Emlyn Pear, who was able not only to service her constituency to the point that she was returned to office, which means that they are satisfied in the major, that they are satisfied with her performance, that she was returned to Parliament, but also had her family. She has her children. She has her involvement in the church and other organizations outside of running a ministry, and was still able to successfully complete a master's and start a doctorate. Yeah? You have Honorable Kate Skeeter Lewis Peters, who started her master's at the same time that the election campaign for 2018 started. So outside of having to be going to every polling division, every nook and cranny, and meeting with the people and interacting with the people and finding out the concerns and introducing yourself and so on, outside of the work that she had to do within the constituency, she was also doing a master's degree at the same time. And remember, she was in the Senate in a ministry. So she had the ministry work to do as well. And she was able to successfully complete her master's degree, win the seat, while doing a master's degree, win the seat, come in as a government minister, be successful as a government minister, and complete her master's degree afterwards, during the same period. So to use that as an excuse, education should not be used as an excuse in a case. It shouldn't be used as an excuse. You encourage people to get an education, yet. Yes, nobody will say, no, you don't encourage people. You encourage people to get an education, but don't use it as your excuse in this thing. And I heard someone on one show over the weekend, and let me clarify, because they called and they made a statement about, well, in NNP time, Devon Rocher, they go, no, number one, it wasn't during NNP time. It was during the New National Party period in opposition. that Devon Roche went off to go and study. And he did complete his studies in, I think it's international business. There was international business and another one. International business and another area. Economics and international business, I believe it was. That he successfully completed his degree in. Yeah, and that was during the period in opposition. But I heard somebody trying to say, well, oh, he did leave and he'd go and study and think too, and look at church. And all. No, he went, he say he was going on. That is what he went and did. Yeah. I mean, we have to wait to see what obtains in this instance. But that is what he went to do. And he wasn't a MP at the time. He was a senator. So he gave the opportunity to others to come into the Senate, and he went. And he successfully completed his studies. Yeah? So they can't use that as an excuse. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get into tonight's program.
I am Grenadian. I am Grenadian. I am Grenadian. I am Grenadian. Just tell them we run. We proud of we country. Tell them we run. We proud of we land.
And we have a call online. Good night. Hello. Hi, good night. Caller, your phone is muted. You need to unmute. The caller on the WhatsApp, your call is muted. You need to unmute from your end. Yeah, I don't think they're hearing me. Yeah, something seems to be wrong with their phone. Call. Let me try one more time. Call on the WhatsApp. You're mute on your end. Right. Yeah. Go right through, my brother.
Yes. You hear me now?
Yeah. You had your phone muted. Go ahead.
Right. How should I say it? This whole situation right now is a vigilante, kind of risk-taking, kind of gambling, kind of problem they're having right now, because certain things that the NDC are doing right now, and I can tell you the honest truth, they're taking a chance, all right? Because what they did last week, and including with Ron, it wasn't right. All right? This is something you don't put out for people to Yes, I heard. Let me call you back.
Okay.
Let me just call you back.
Okay, brother.
Yeah, let me call you back. I have to run to get out something there.
I hear you get call. But I get call out, we can't finish. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. A reminder, Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, he'll be on tomorrow night. Yes, Tuesday night tomorrow. He will be on with us right here on Talking Points, his first interview for 2024. So we're going to be going into a lot of issues, a lot of discussion tomorrow night right here on Talking Points. All right? Yes, 440-73. It is now 13 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock, so we open the phone lines. 440-7377. Yeah, certain people within the group can't get touch because certain people have friends who lends. Yeah, they have family members who are the ones that are out there sourcing the funds for the political organization. So they ain't touching them. They could fail 10 times over, they ain't touching them. But when it comes to Ron, as far as they're concerned, who is Ron? He come, he win a seat. And they find, because remember, initially they wanted to run Mr. Clement in the seat. But Mr. Clement come and he talk, and then they do what they do, and they push him aside, and they went ahead with Ron Redhead. Yeah. I mean, some leaders forget. I ain't forgetting them thing. So it has gotten to the stage now. It has gotten to the stage now that they decide, well, look, in certain seats, there are people that they will not run again. In fact, in some seats, they already actively have people who have started the process of taking over those seats. Yeah? We have a call online. Good night. Hello, good night.
Good night, sir. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm quite fine. Go right ahead. You're live.
Yes, my brother. My question is, you see, there's a lot of exposure in a sense. From the first instance, like you had the shuffle And even then, in used to have the shuffle, there was, I mean, press were called in and you have one off. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But if you bar the press on the day and then call on the next day, I mean, it's a kind of something, you leave a hiding spot. Like there is something that you're trying to cover up. I could be subject to correction here, yeah, but it doesn't. So by you trying to hide one, you expose many, which is not necessary.
My friend, let me tell you. Let me tell you what happened there. They did not want the press there because they were not sure how the entire shuffle thing would have play out. So they had to do it in the darkness. They couldn't do it in the light. They're afraid people see. Yeah? So they had their own people there. And then I see a sort of nonsense from some people who claim to have been in the media for a long time saying that is not normal. And you and I know it. You're Grenadian.
Sheldon, when you come into the frontline politics, right? Again, there's no disrespect to nobody on the frontline politics on the either side. My point is, once you come in to serve the nation, you serve your nation with a willing heart and with an open mind. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
With an open, you have nothing to fear, you have nothing to hide. Because why? You come to serve the nation clean and clear, and this is what you think you could bring to good to the table to serve the people of the country. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So there should be so if you have a doubt in what you're about to do, what's the point you being there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, like one of my friends, he passed away a long, long time, and he said, look, anytime you make a step in life, anything, you don't do it with a two mind. Yeah, you approach it with a positive mind and with a willing mind that you will be successful. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You cannot believe a religion and then still having a question to what you believe is. You're in trouble. Yeah, and I will leave it at that.
All right, my brother. Thank you very much.
Night.
Same to you. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. And 347-329-3101. Of course, yes, you can call us on WhatsApp on 440-7377. That's 440-7377. You can find us on WhatsApp. You can find us direct. And you can find us on I should call it the North American number because it's mainly for those in North America. We have a call on the line. Good night. Hello, good night, caller. You're live. Okay. Yes, that person probably, you need to listen to the phone line when you're calling. Yes, just listen to the phone line when you're calling in. 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside. Again, when it came to the media blackout and what took place, there's no precedent for that. That's not something that you're accustomed hearing when it comes to cabinet reshuffle and that sort of thing. You don't hear that. So some people to come and try and say, well, they were part of the media and that is up. It's a lie. Come on, don't do that to people, man. We know better. We've got a call online. Good night. Hello?
Yeah, I'm back.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Right, as I was saying, because you was calling them a risk taker. It's something with the gambling they're doing. All right, I just forgot the name.
Venture capitalist, I believe it is. Yeah.
Yes. The thing is, this thing what they do last week, with everybody reshuffling, and what they did to some of them, and what they said. Now this thing what they did with Randy, I would never done it. All right. No matter what side they're on, I would never have done it. This thing about the education and all kind of this, and the person don't reach that capacity and all kind of shippiness, keep that to all itself. All right. One thing I know, it have great minds around the world. People who start businesses, and they didn't even have education. And when their business start to go off in a hit, then they went and do their education privately. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know there are people in Grenada, some of them start big businesses and they just went and do this thing privately. Nobody had to know about their business. But this thing, what they do, the man, I watch the man face there and the man looking like It's like he was stabbed in the back.
Well,
Understand?
not him alone. If you looked at the face of all the people there, it did not look like a
No,
happy
I
bunch.
watch a lot of them.
It
I
didn't
watch
look like
a
a
lot
happy
of them
bunch.
and I watch their face and trust me, some of them
Not
wish
some.
they never even
Not
venture
some.
inside there.
Not some, all of them. It was not a happy bunch of people. They tried to give you a little smile, but it always came back down to the same melancholy. As soon as you see the camera come on them, you see the same melancholy come back on. Yeah, so it was not a happy, joyous occasion for them.
No, because the thing is, y'all have a leader, all right? The reason they call him a leader is because he put himself out now for his workers so they could venture with him now, all right? So they could follow because he's a leader. He's not acting as a boss. But all of a sudden now you was in sheep clothing. You're acting like a boss now. You're treating your workers like hell. And now what you do them? You scorn them, you embarrass them, you throw them under the bus, all kind of thing. What kind of leader is that? You understand? And remember last week when I called, remember we had to talk about the Mortimer Road? And what did I say? And I said they could not have opened that road for January. Give them about 3 months or maybe about 6 months. Now look at they have it now. They put it up on news. November 2024. Because like the message get out. They can't complete this thing there in January. And if Deacon looking to rush this thing there for January, you better get your head out.
My brother, I listened to the Prime Minister. I do not have the clip, but I did listen to the Prime Minister last night. He was speaking yesterday around midday on an NDC program. And in reference to that, remember, he's the Minister of Infrastructure, so really and truly the project is under the Prime Minister directly. And he is saying 6 months now. He's saying that they just drive
6
piles.
months?
He's saying that they reconfigured the entire project, that they've just driven some piles down and so on, so that project now is going to be completed in about another 6 months. So forget January out of it all of a sudden. All of a sudden, January out of it.
Well, they drive pile, okay? What about the retaining wall? We not hearing nothing about that. I can send you a picture right now with some infrastructures just like that. Roads in different countries. And they have retaining walls going up like steps. All right? So this thing, no. That looking kind of offset to me. And them men look like they're just trying to fish Grenada out of money. Because I listened to the guy talking. And with the guy talking about November and this and that and so on. So, man, it's like they don't even know what the hell they're doing. They're just making promises and breaking promises and making us feel like this going and, you know, we just like fish in a barrel. Sooner or later, they'll just use a net and catch us. And it look like they use a big net and they catch a lot of them.
Boy, take out the
and
us in.
Prime Minister
Take
and
out
some
the
of
us.
the team.
Take out the us in that, eh?
Sorry, one. Sorry, boss. Sorry, boss. I meant to say it the other way, but you know, the tongue slip. But the way things are going now with this NDC legacy, that legacy look as he will cut short very soon, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel I might have to have a ribbon cutting for when it cut very soon.
Well,
you understand?
What I would suggest, my friend, is you ensure that you are registered. You ensure that anybody else that you know has to be registered is registered. That we are all ready for, in case the time comes, that we are ready and we are prepared. Yeah, that's what I would suggest.
No. I'm very registered, eh?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, one thing I would say, and that is a big note, okay, around the world, that in certain countries, if you know you have a leader and then you have men and women behind that leader that's supposed to ensure the country's safety, and one of them ministers is doing nothing, they ain't doing what they're supposed to do. In Korea, they don't waste time. The second they realize you're doing nonsense, BS, You know what they do? They take you out and they put somebody immediately. No questions asked. Once they realize they're doing tata. But as what you said, Lacret, like, you have a gold mine in Lacret pocket, man.
Not necessarily
Sorry to
his,
say.
but people who are related to him. All right. Okay, my
Yes,
friend. Thank you so
yes.
very much for your input. All right.
Enjoy.
Thank you. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside. I know some folks were trying to call and get through there. You can call back now. 440-7377. That is the number for you to call and get onto the inside. Yeah. Now, you keep the media away because you were afraid the media would see what was really taking place. Yeah, they were afraid that the media would see what was really taking place. We have a caller online. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
How are you?
Quite fine. You're live. Go right ahead.
Yes, I just calling in. I just calling in for a long time. I take a rest, so I just decided
Hey,
to call.
hey, just make out the voice. Hey, Papa.
What
I'm
yeah,
good,
lot
man.
of trouble grader right now, you know.
Man.
And some of the things I can't eat at all because the information gonna go know where the information come from, you know.
What I would say, what happened in Grenville on the bus terminal this evening? I'm hearing some stuff about a incident on the bus terminal there after school this evening.
You mean in St. George's?
No, in Grenville.
No, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing a story there right now. Believe me,
I know.
it's frightening. Yeah.
Yeah, but Sheldon, right now we have to encourage people to register and to vote because it seems like that thing will go for another year. That's all I could say. Trust me. Based on what I know, that ain't really lasting long. So we have to encourage people right now to go there and register. You understand what I'm saying?
Of course.
Yeah, so.
All right.
I did listen. I listen to you all the time.
All right, my brother.
But I just ain't saying nothing.
Okay.
Yes, I just calling tonight to say, hello to everybody.
All right.
Yeah, and everybody be vigilant right now because everybody angry these days. I'm telling you, real angry. Yeah.
All right, my boy. So you'll
So have
talk
a good
soon
night.
again. All right. Blessings.
Yeah.
440-7377. That's 440-7377. We have a caller online. Hello, good night. Hello. Hello, good night, caller. Hello. Hello. Okay, it seems as though that person may be having a problem with their device. Caller, you can try back again. All right, 440-7377. Yeah, I think that person probably is having a problem with their device. 440-7377. A reminder again, Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell will be our guest tomorrow night on Talking Points. He'll be speaking about... I'm really interested in hearing his views in relation to the cabinet reshuffle and so on. Yeah. You know, I saw one particular journalist put out a thing saying, oh, we must send Dr. Mitchell to the independent media. Well, that is what NNP does do. Who is independent media in Grenada? Really and truly, who is independent media in Grenada right now? Which media company doesn't have a specific agenda? Where is the independent media in Grenada? Yeah? Independent media means you must put somebody in front of a media house that must ask them about their personal business and their personal life and not on the issues of what is affecting Grenadians out there. You want to focus on the person's personal life or ask them questions that you think will make them uncomfortable. That is independent media. Yeah? I mean, I'd just be surprised sometimes at how some people does. Well, I would like to say how they just think, but in my view, they're not thinking, which is why they're saying some of the things that they're saying. Who is independent media? Really and truly. Yeah? No, when Dr. Mitchell is doing, sometimes I consider Linda Straker to be independent media because NNPites does cuss her, NDCites does cuss her, people who have no political party does cuss her, and I think she's in the right bracket when that's happening. Yeah, because the same way that you see her reporting under the NDC is the same way you saw her reporting under the New National Party. So I consider her to be independent media And she has been given the opportunity on various occasions to interview Dr. Mitchell and so on. Yeah. MTV, I generally consider MTV to be independent because I think that they bring stories not based on this person tell them and that person ask them, but they try to bring stories independently and impartially in relation to things. I can't say that about the other television station right now. I can't say it. Any of the other stations, I can't say it. Because I tend to think some of them start to look now like GIS 2.0. That they are just regurgitating everything on behalf of the government and trying to make everything look nice and dandy when that is not the situation. Yeah? And I applaud the media fraternity for the stand that they took on Friday by not attending the activity on Friday. So I applaud them. You know what I said the night before. So I applaud them on taking that stand and not attending on Friday the function that was held by the government. Because the only reason that the government did not want the media there when they swearing, because they wasn't sure people would have show up to swear in. They wasn't sure what people would have say. So they did it without the media there. And then they say everybody wasn't there at the same time. You had various people there at the same time. Yeah, there have been functions during COVID by the Governor General where you couldn't have large gatherings and so. Where the media was there and you had one person come, then you have another person come, and then you have other persons come. And it wasn't GIS alone. So you've had these things taking place before. So to give the impression that the media couldn't come because you all were afraid that questions would have been asked of the people at the swearing in. You all needed a 24 hours, one, to make sure that they go and swear in. If somebody who was supposed to swear in did not go and swear in or gave some trouble at the swearing in, then you all had 24 hours to fix that before you go in front of the media. But when you look at those faces, at the people when they were facing the media, you realize that these were not happy campers. These were not pleased people. These were not people that was glad to be where they were and happy of what was taking place with them. Yeah? These were not happy campers. And I think I find something there. Let me see if I find something there because I think I hear about the Molyneux thing. Let me see if I find something on the Molyneux thing there. Yeah, I think I find something on it there. A good partner of mine send this to you. Let me see what I was saying about Molyneux there now. Right. Let me see what I was saying about Molyneux. Right. Yeah, let's see if we could hear. Oh dear, no, I'm not getting it. Okay, let me see. I know is the problem there. Right. So let me see if I could hear it now. And for some reason, I'm not getting it to play. Yeah, you know, this thing keep playing the fool with us these last few days. Don't know what is happening with it. Yeah, I have to sort that issue out. Because we seem to be having an issue when it comes to our audio. Okay, yes, I think we've got it now. So let me just pull this up for you. Right? Let me just pull this up for you so we can hear what was being said about Molyneux. Right, so let's see what was being said about Molyneux now. So I think I've got it now. And no, it's still giving the same problem again. Yeah. For some reason, our clips just don't want to play these days, and I don't know why. Yeah, for some reason, our clips just don't want to play these days. So let me see if I can find the other one, because there's a second one that I wanted to play. Right? There's a second one that I wanted to play.
So we are aiming to complete the project in Molyneux in January coming. It costs a little more, but we think it's all for the better good of the project and the road. So we are aiming to complete the project in Molyneux in January coming. It costs a little more, but we think it's all for the better good of the project and the road. So we are...
So I don't know which January they was really talking about. If it was this January or another January or a January somewhere, that this January in January, and I don't know. Maybe a January somewhere down the road. So let's see what else they had here. Yeah, let me see what else they had to say here.
Of the Molyneux land slippage project, according to site engineer Sunil Pal, who expects the road to be open to regular traffic by November 2024. MTV visited the site on Thursday.
Hopefully next Christmas, everybody will be driving through. Once the weather and everything supporters keep supporting us, we are really positive, and we had a excellent progress If you can see on site from last 4 weeks, we had excellent progress. We are satisfied where we are right now, but it's all depend on our weather. Sometimes weather just disappoint us, but we are sure sometime in October, November, we should have the road.
According to them there, work was on a bit of a go slow due to the Christmas and New Year holidays. However, 24-hour work has resumed. Due to the land slippage in the Molyneux-St. George area, a part of the Western Main Road was closed to traffic in December 2019 and in 2022. 5 companies submitted tenders for the commencement of repair work.
Basically, box type bridge. We have 17 boxes in total section, and we are doing the backfill right now for the foundation.
You see
We
this?
have
This
to
one?
come up like another 4 feet. Once we come up 4 feet, our bridge will start. So the bridge height is almost 5 meters. So after 5 meters, we'll be on the same level. So basically, So basically, the road will be there.
That drawing will give you clear picture. You see, we have to backfill up to this foundation level. So after this foundation we reach that level, then we'll start the culvert bridge.
Powell says there will also be side viewing and beautification in the area.
Yes, actually, the design have a concept like people can walk, and from the rail they can stand and take a view of the sea. So it's basically very nice. When it will completed, then you will really know how it is.
In 2020, the Molyneux land slippage area was identified for declaration as a sub-national disaster zone. However, today, engineers are confident that the public would have full access to the road before the end of this year. Reporting for MTV News, I am Akela Aberdeen. All this.
So, yeah, from January, by Andy saying it's in January. Now we're hearing it's in November. And yesterday I heard the Prime Minister saying in 6 months' time or something like that, he was talking about with the Molyneux Road. Yeah? So you keep hearing the time frame changing, but at the end of the day, the people on the West Coast are the ones that are suffering. And unless you all speak about it and you all say what's going on, yeah, and you all make noise basically in relation to it, this situation will continue to remain as it is. They keep giving you all kind of fake thing. So 1 minute is, oh, it's going to be ready. In fact, it was supposed to be ready towards the ending of last year. Then that changed to January, and now it changed to November 2024. So, I know, the time just keep changing in relation to this thing. We've got a call online. Good night. Hello, good night.
Good night, sheldon. Hello, good night.
Good night, good night.
Hello, this is Oliver speaking.
Yes, Oliver.
Yeah, I was in the Imani program and they sent me home.
They sent you home from the Imani program. When did this take place?
They sent me home from the Imani program. The end start yet and they sent me home already.
God. What?
Yeah.
So this happened this month, within the last few days?
Yeah, they sent me home for the first time, for the 1st of January.
From the 1st of January?
Yeah, from the 1st of January they sent me home.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, this is a sad story, you know, a very, very sad story.
My brother, here's what. Hit me a WhatsApp on the number that you've just called. WhatsApp me on it and let's have a conversation further on that one. All right?
Okay, all right, yeah.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, not only him, but I've heard a situation in relation to some of the cleaners at the ministerial complex that they've gone home. That's what I've heard. I've heard other situations around the island of people that, as of January, have gone home. I've also heard of a situation with some of the employers that they are saying that when it comes to the minimum wage, that due to how the minimum wage is structured, they may be unable to keep the level of staffing that they have, so that some of their staff may have to go home. Now remember, minimum wage only affects you if you are under the minimum wage. If you're over it, it doesn't affect. So if you're already earning over the amount that is being put forward for the minimum wage, it doesn't affect that employer or employee. But if it is a situation that you're being paid under what the new minimum wage is, they have to increase it to the level of what the minimum wage is. Let's say you're earning 900, the minimum wage now is 12. They have to pay you to make up the difference. They have to give you the 3 to make up the difference now to bring it up to 1,200. as of the end of January, you have to be getting that. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside. Again, a reminder, tomorrow night, yes, from 8 p.m., we will be having Dr. Mitchell on with us right here on Talking Points. All right, I think we have a caller online. Hello, good night.
Hey, hello, good night, Sheldon.
Hey, good night.
Hey, good night, Talking Points. Sheldon.
Yes, sir.
I in a sad state right now. Because hear this. I am from St. George Northeast, and I'm telling you, I find over the couple of years, St. George Northeast been getting the messy end of the stick. And I will say that with no apologies, because we had members of NMP and we had members of NDC, and for some reason, we in this area here, this constituency, haven't been getting proper representation. But I will leave it there. I want to ask you questions. What was the outcome of this issue with the Samoa agreement with the ambassador? That is one. What is the outcome with the oil and gas inquiry with the group, the commission they have, led by Mr. Nazem Bok? Right? Two. And three, what going on with this so-called, what do you call it, cabinet conclusion with how much money is that our honorable prime minister say that NMP get and who get and who get and who get? Because I find all these things going on under the rug and other things coming up. And they're not giving us any explanation, right? And before I go, MP run as it stands right now, MP PR run as it stands right now. There were so many things, and I ain't coming on the brother. If the brother needs to go and study and further his education, I'm all for that. But there were so many things, so many signs. I remember early up in their press conferences where a journalist bring it to the Prime Minister's presence that Honorable Redhead, Minister Redhead at the time, was soliciting work in his office. And the Prime Minister sat there in that press conference and said he has no idea of that. The journalist pressed on him again, Mr. PM, this thing is on this gentleman's webpage. You know what the PM said? He said, PM, anybody can put anything on Facebook. That was his explanation. Likewise, when he was asked about the $2,000 on the minister's salary as travel allowance, Ms. Faria was interviewing him. And she told him, Mr. PM, I have found no evidence. I have done independent investigation on that. This man just raised his shoulder and snug it off. And that's the kind of government we have. And that's the kind of people that some people in Grenada support. And I don't understand why. And they can't see it. And when we talk about it, we're the worst, we don't, we stupid, we can't read, we can't understand, we can't reason. Sheldon, you have a good night.
All right, brother. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That's the number for you to get on the inside. But who do you all consider to be the biggest loser after the cabinet reshuffle? Because in my mind, it's MP Ron Livingston Redhead. I see him as the biggest loser. In other words, he get fired. Yeah? But then you have some who think they win, but they actually didn't. Because you're into a ministry, but you have specific responsibility only for a facility. Yeah, you're getting, what, 14,000, 15,000, whatever, a month. Yeah, that's where you're going to be getting. And plus, remember, they're working on further to that, they're working on another 10,000. Yeah? For the allowance for the constituency and so. They're working on another 10,000 on top of that. The 14 or so thousand, yes, they're still working on another 10,000 on top of that. Right? So, they're getting that, yeah. But are they really the big winners? Yeah? But we know who is the biggest loser. Yeah? 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That is the number for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. Yeah, and my good friends in the media, I know that you all are listening. A special good night to each and every one of you. I hope that you're having a wonderful night. I want to find out, though, if the media is going to be continuing with that, we're not going to press conferences and so, if they're going to continue with it until they get an apology. Because I'll tell them one thing, I would say do it. But if you do it, you also have to put a blackout on government news coming across your frequencies and your various channels and so on. Because once they're still getting the news out, they really care if all you come or not, you know. Yeah, they really care. We've got a call online. Hello, good night.
Shirley, good night.
Good night, sir. How art thou?
How are you, young man?
I'm good, I'm good.
All right, I'm not too bad at the same time, too. I want to ask you your question.
Mm-hmm.
You have these two people in, what do you call it? In Grenville. I don't know the, it's slope, where it's not, where so whatever it is.
St. Andrew then. Just say St. Andrew.
The next one.
Yeah.
Right. Now, these two people, they run for two different parties.
Mm-hmm.
Right. One for the NNP, next one lost. However, because of certain circumstances, all right, they emerge as one. How come? First time I heard that in life, First time. How come you're having two ministers for one constituency? Is that right?
Well, my brother, I can't say that it's wrong. If the people of the constituency are okay with it, then it's up to them. But what I would say is this: if the individual who won the seat believes truly in their heart that is what the people of the constituency want, then what they should do is resign, run the seat again, and see if the people will give them their blessing on it, the opportunity to go ahead and do it. Yeah? They shouldn't just take it on their own. Okay, let me use an example. In Trinidad, there's an individual by the name of Jack Warner. He ran as part of the People Partnership for Shogunas West, I believe it is. Yes, he won on the People's Partnership ticket as part of the UNC on the People's Partnership ticket. He fell out with the government. When he fell out with the government, their system is that if you resign from the party that you ran for, you also have to resign the seat and force a by-election. So he resigned from the party, he resigned from the parliament, and they had a by-election and he ran. Now, he performed so well in that constituency that he won the seat in the by-election. That said, they had a general election after that and he lost the relics.
Right.
But
Well,
in the by-election, he won. I'm saying, if you believe that your calculation, your formula that you have come up with, which you did not present to the people before the general election, if you believe that is what the people want now, you should go back to the people. So you should resign the seat, let us have a by-election, and see if the people will select you again.
Well, this is what I think is best to do, because the people vote for you for one party, and now you're not there for them. What sense does it make?
Mm-hmm.
So I find this person should resign the seat, and a by-election should go. I find having a problem with that when I listen people talk, and at least I have an idea better than that. So I find something should be done. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
According to you, that is what should be done?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Listen, the last point I want to make. I hear a couple of people was talking about, if you didn't see the Prime Minister's face, how he looking, and I look last night or night before, I look at him and I see somebody beat him up. I find his face looking as if he beat up so.
Yeah, man, he good, man. He okay, man.
Now I find I see his face thing up. I say somebody might probably maybe because of what he did, he make the fire run. I say probably run might beat him up. Yeah.
Heavy's the head that wears the crown, so you better have strong shoulders.
I had a couple of things to say, but I hear most of you, we always talk about it already, so it doesn't make a sense.
All right.
To recall things. So you just have a nice evening, and I'll still listening.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, partner. Thank you.
Okay, brother. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. The lines are open. You can give us a call. Yes, we have some time remaining. You can give us a call on the program. Yes, it is Talking Points. All right. Yeah. If you, and going back on what the caller just spoke about, you did not present to the people of St. Andrew Northwest the formula that you're utilizing now. You were part of a specific team. You offered yourself as part of that team. You praised that team and the leadership of that team. If you have changed your mind, you should give the people of the constituency the opportunity to change their mind as well. Yeah? Maybe it is. You might pull off a Jack Warner. You never know. Yeah, we have a caller. Hi, good night. Yes, caller.
I like to say about, let me say to my point, I like to say, like, is the same minimum wage? How come some people going home and some staying? I trying to figure it up to know.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is, if you raise the minimum wage about, you say like somebody getting $700 and you say getting $1,000, how come some people going home and some staying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to figure it out, but I don't understand why really going on in this country now.
You see, it's the way that the minimum wage is being implemented. If it was being done incrementally, it's one thing. But the volume of the increase for some people with a bad economy is difficult for them. Yeah? It's hard for them to be able to manage, yeah. All right. Hello? Yeah. All right, brother. No props. Yeah, it's difficult for some employers to be able to manage the volume of the increase. Yeah, because if you have to find an additional, let's say $3,000 or $4,000, and you're already struggling to pay your rent at the facility that you're using, plus maintain your stock and all of that. If you're already barely making ends meet and now you're hit with an additional how much $1,000 that you have to find on a monthly basis, it is difficult for some employers to do that. And the way they're going to deal with it is they're going to reduce staff. We've got a caller online. Good night.
Yeah, good night, Sheldon. What's
Hi,
up?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad, man. Happy New Year to you, man.
And same to you. Go right ahead, though.
All right. Yeah. I listened to GBN. I think it was Friday. I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear a caller of NDC. She say you have a new sheriff in town, and no matter what we say or do, we can do nothing for that. When I listen to that statement there, I say, well, these people and them thinking in a kind of way. No, Sheldon, but next thing again I find what wrong before, become acceptable now. I know why.
My brother, it's called hypocrisy. It's called hypocrisy. Okay. The same things, for instance, CBI. CBI was the work of the devil before. Right now, CBI is what this government living on. And living on, actually not just figuratively, they're actually living on it, because you have at least 2 members of the cabinet and 3 members of the executive of the party that are CBI agents. So that's what they're living on.
Lord.
Yeah?
And Sheldon, and something again I want to tell you. You don't realize that they're struggling to put like them members and them of the government. Like they're fighting for some place to put them, because they experience, like they don't have a lot of experience for the position. Like they're searching for some way to put them. Like how they put them, they fail. You know? And something I want to say to you again. Ron Redhead, I wonder you'll be getting pay still from the government?
Well, he should not be still getting paid by the government, but from what was intimated through that post that I was showing earlier was that the likelihood is he still will be receiving this salary that ministers are now receiving, but he just wouldn't be getting it from government.
Lord. Shall I just imagine, was Dr. Keith Mitchell was the Prime Minister and that happening? You have him placard in tongue.
Well, all now they marching in tongue there and they walking across the carnage, all dark night beating drum.
That was saying, so why you acceptable now? And before, you don't hear nobody saying nothing, and die my problem. You don't hear nobody saying nothing. And Sheldon, here's something. You realize a lot of things that NDC, the Prime Minister doing, the supporters of the NDC backing him up. But when Kit Mitchell in power, we this NMP and them, we don't back him up. And every living thing that this government doing, you realize they're taking pity, media, everything happening. I can remember Oliver Joseph used to watch. You have a place in Bakole Dongle. Oliver Joseph do 965 feet of road. I was a part of that. We bid for the work, another guy get it. So we said no, anybody get the work, we go pull in one another. Another guy get it, he pull in me, he pull in others. 965 feet of road. The road done. Not no media came, no picture take. And maybe that was maybe a failure because he maybe like you see what going on to really do. They elect the man to walk. You understand? And the man was just walking. But now, if they give a hamper, pictures. Every living thing they do is pictures.
But remember, they used to call certain ministers within the NNP administration minister Facebook. Well, who on more Facebook than them?
Exactly.
Who on more social media than them? But they used to call certain, at least when that minister posts something, it was something that was being done, yeah, within the ministry. So they could post achievements. They have no achievements to post. All they're posting is them posing.
That's the thing. And they used to call NMP a concrete government, but this now is a picture government. The only picture they taking out.
Oh boy. I think Dr. Mitchell referred to them as a social media administration.
Exactly. Have a good night, sir.
All right, thank you.
Nice, all right.
All right, 440-7377. Yeah, we can take on two more calls before the time is up. 440-7377. That's the number for you to call to get onto the inside of tonight's program. 440-7377. Yes, indeed. Yeah, there's a social media government. Yeah, there's a social media government. All they're focusing on is social media. That's the kind of thing they're interested in. Yeah, actually getting things done for the Grenadian people. Nah, they have time for that. Social media, die with the bad. Yeah, boy. They bad day. They bad as 10 bobo when they come to that particular one. Social media, die with the bad. Yes, 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That's the number for you to get onto the inside of tonight's program. Yeah, that's the number for you to get onto tonight's program. Nice. Yeah, I think we have a caller online. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I won't too long. But I was just listening to the guy speaking there.
Mm-hmm.
And he just clicked back on me. Okay? Now, this thing with Ron about, the education and everything wise and who paying him and everything, that kind of sound kind of fishy and funny. Alright? Now, if the government don't pay me, who paying him? Now, the thing is, Ron don't have the education to do the work. Let him go back to school. Now, why when the government came in power, certain people that was in office, in government buildings...
Partner, you had to speed it up, eh? You had to speed it up.
Yeah. Was qualified. They have the education, everything, certificates for the job. They take them out and put in people who did not qualify and have the education. So what the Prime Minister have to say about that? He's the only qualified person. So what about them others?
All right. Boss,
it's like they're doing what they want.
Sorry to cut you, but you was on already and the time nearly up. So we got to talk on next day. All right? Yeah. You don't have to go. So we can talk.
Yeah, I just try to bring up the point.
Yes. All right. No problem.
Yes. So, good night.
Yeah. Not that. When it comes to 10, I have to leave exactly at 10. And I wanted to have enough time to be able to tell you that tomorrow night we will be on. And just to let you all know, outside of on the usual, the YouTube, and folks, for those of you that are visiting on YouTube with us for the first time, just remember to subscribe. There's a little button. You're going to see the subscribe button on the page itself. Yes, so you can subscribe. Let me see if I could pull it up and give you a little idea of what I'm talking about. There's the subscribe button. Right. Let me see. Let me see if I could pull it up like this. Right. Come on that page. Show proper that page. Right. Nice. So when you go to YouTube, you will be able to see the subscribe button at the bottom right hand corner. Right. So the bottom right hand corner, what you need to do is you need to ensure that you click on that, and it's going to subscribe you. And then every time we come on, you'll be able to get onto the program and you'll be able to see what it is we're speaking about and that sort of thing. I was trying to pull it up for you, but I know how to do this thing tonight, man. Yeah, I'm still getting to learn how to use this new one, right? Yeah, right? Yeah, so once you subscribe, you'll be able to get notifications when we go live. So tomorrow night we are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on you'll be getting us on WeFM, you'll be getting us on Sister Isle FM, you'll be getting us, of course, on our loyal Real FM, and of course, We Noise Radio. We make the noise out there in Brooklyn 94.9. You definitely will be getting us there. We will be having Dr. Mitchell on with us tomorrow night, and we look forward to having that interaction with him and with you all on Talking Points. Folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. In whatever you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you and not about you. My name is Sheldon Scott. I am out. Love each and every one of you. I'm gone.
I'm Grenadian. I am Grenadian. I am Grenadian. I am Grenadian. Just tell them we proud. We proud of we country. Tell them we proud. We proud of we land. Tell them we proud. We proud of we people. Proud Grenadian. Just tell them we proud. We proud of we country. Tell them we proud. We proud of we land. Tell them we proud. We proud of we people. Proud Grenadian. Grenada, I love you. Denson Lopez loves you. We have been through rough struggles. We have been through so much pain. We have been through disasters, both natural and man-made. We have been through the era of the rebel. We have tasted the might of Ivan and more. We went through a struggling economy, but with sacrifice, we rise up tremendously. So tell them we proud of we country. Tell them we proud of we land. Tell them we proud of we people. Proud Grenadian. Just tell them we proud of we country. Tell them we proud of we land. Tell them we proud of we people. Proud Grenadian. Grenada, we love you. Your people loves you. We are patriots at home, doing what we can for the growth of this country. We employ every hand, but there are patriots in and